Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on the show, we discuss what the future holds for Wolverine.
Plus, we get behind the wheel and go fast with our look at Furious 7. Whoosh!
And then we catch up with Dante in DMC Definitive Edition. Also coming up, we chase a few chocobos in Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. There's nothing kinky or gray in the new iOS game Shades, and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Wolverine's claws can cut through almost anything, but they can't even make a dent in the rundown. Here it is. Marvel's most famous big-screen mutant is about to call it quits. X-Men actor Hugh Jackman has revealed that 2017's Wolverine solo movie will be his final appearance as the character. Jackman has been hinting about his retirement from the franchise for some time, and now we know where and when he'll hang up the claws for good. He first played Wolverine in the original X-Men movie more than 15 years ago, which is a long time to be playing an ageless character. He's easily the most recognizable face in the series, and it remains to be seen what Fox will do once he's gone. Along with the 2017 Wolverine movie, the studio is also working on next year's X-Men Apocalypse, along with a Deadpool movie starring Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, people are dead.
Break out your light cycles because it looks like the Tron franchise is going to ascend to new heights. The long-rumored third film in the series is expected to finally begin shooting this summer with the title Tron Ascension. There have been rumors about the film ever since the second movie, Tron Legacy, hit theaters back in 2010. That one didn't do as well as expected in theaters, but it did find lasting success on home video, so us Tron fans are lucky that we're getting another one.
And that's what I'm talking about!
Tron Legacy director Joseph Kosinski is expected to be back, but there's no word yet on what actors will reprise their roles. It is time for Movie Talk with your co-host, Scott Jones.
You needed some expert advice.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be about sex. You need
no,
sex.
this is about movies, and Tron is a sequel that I have been waiting for a long time. How about you, my friend?
You already got one Tron sequel.
And I really enjoyed that one, and I've enjoyed watching it more and more as time has gone on because it's such a cool, symmetrical movie with a beautiful soundtrack from Daft Punk.
Well, because you were probably also certain that they weren't going to ever make any more Tron after the disastrous showing of that last Tron sequel.
Well, it wasn't disastrous, but it certainly didn't live up to the hype and the expectations initially, but it's grown to be a well-received movie. And, I also like the Disney XD animated show, the thing that Elijah Wood starred in. I thought that was really cool. I love this universe, and I think that it's ripe for lots of growth and lots of different ways to tell the stories. I like the characters that they introduced in Tron
I like
Legacy.
it too, but I don't really know any of the people in the Tron universe. I don't know who they are or why I should care about them.
Well, Olivia Wilde was fantastic.
Well, she's just an actor.
Cora.
She's not one of the characters in the movie.
Yeah, I know, and I liked Flynn's son. I thought that was all cool.
Listen.
I think Jeff Bridges has probably got to move on, but I am psyched for
Have
3.
I not made it clear to you?
You're not excited.
I don't like this stuff.
I
don't
am
want
excited.
any more Tron.
I am excited.
All right,
now,
your wish came true.
Now, what do you think about Wolverine retiring? Does that bum you out, or is it just a signal that we're all getting older? Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, we are all getting older.
Yeah.
And there's only so much Wolverining that Wolverine can do.
I know.
So maybe he's making a mature choice. So we're going to have to retire at some point,
Listen,
too.
that guy looked amazing in the last Wolverine movie.
No top.
He looked better than he's ever looked, so it feels like the guy is ageless, but apparently not.
I didn't know if you knew this or not, but they used my body double in there. So
didn't
that
know
wasn't Hugh Jackman. That was actually me.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I would love it if Hugh Jackman could keep going. I think he's been phenomenal in the role. It's hard to imagine anybody else being that guy.
He has pleased you so much.
He is fantastic, though. He's an amazing actor, and he's really fun as Wolverine. So if it's his choice to leave, I respect it, but we're going to miss him.
Who else are they going to focus on once Wolverine is in the past?
He's always been the most popular.
I know, but they got to find a new one to raise up.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be an absence well felt, I think, when Hugh Jackman leaves that franchise. But right now, we got to talk about another enduring franchise, Furious 7. Let's go behind the scenes.
Ray was right. You're a terrible liar.
We find Hobbs in the hospital. When Hobbs comes to in the hospital, the first thing he needs to do, he just needs to see Dom and tell Dom, look, the guy we were dealing with in Fast 6, Shaw we were dealing with in Fast 6 was very dangerous. The man we're dealing with today is extremely dangerous. The idea is to do our best not to keep him around, but to kill him. That's the one MO that Hobbs feels that he needs to let Dom know. And also, too, that's one of those scenes that informs the audience something that's very important, critically important, which is Hobbs and Dom are not friends.
When you find that sumbitch, just do me one favor.
What's that?
Don't miss.
In this film, all the events of the previous movies, and even some events that the audience is going to get a real joy out of seeing in this movie that they've never seen before, that they know are in the mythology of Fast and Furious. Everything comes together in this movie, and questions are answered, new thoughts are proposed, characters' identities are unraveled even further. And you'll see when you watch the movie that themes that have been planted in previous movies all come full circle here.
Thank God you showed up. These parties bore me to death.
In my heart of hearts, I know that I'm fighting for those girls out there who don't think like your typical stereotyped female. She doesn't like pink, and it's not all about the boys. We got lives of our own, and we have addictions of our own, and we've got adrenaline cravings too.
Every time I open a script for Fast and Furious, I wonder, okay, how are they gonna up their game from the last one? Because I think that's really part of the challenge, because each one keeps superseding the last one in terms of how the fans respond worldwide. This one's done a pretty great job, and I'm bummed that I didn't get to go with the team to Abu Dhabi, because it seems like they had a really, really good time.
Now we're talking. We go to Abu Dhabi because the God's Eye is located in Abu Dhabi. There's a guy that Ramsey gave it to in order to keep it safe and protected, and we have to go there, and that becomes very interesting also, because this is a very wealthy man, and you get to see what a wealthy man would do to protect certain things.
You thought this was gonna be a street fight?
The idea that we could even attempt to one-up the stunts and the action sequences is fun, and it's a rich, rich challenge. But increasing the emotional stakes is what will set this saga apart from any other movie.
Alpha. Mrs. Alpha. Joker.
Wrong. Double Alpha. Man candy. You know what I'm saying? Man, sit your candy ass down.
I've never felt the responsibility of being funny than I felt in this one. Even on the set, you know, just kind of behind the scenes, some people may think I'm just hyper and I just ramble and talk. There's a strategy behind everything I do. And my strategy was, because we all knew Paul, because we all were close to him, we have to keep our energy and the morale up, because our inspiration is to keep going.
The only thing I've ever seen him take down was Noni's Denise. Remember at prom?
Really, Brian?
Yeah.
You gonna do that right here? So y'all trying to get me off my point.
For Fast 7, I think the most powerful thing is gonna be the legacy that has been left behind, you know? For everybody. Everybody's been involved in the franchise, and the respect that we have for the family that we built. And I think that that's gonna be the most powerful message that the franchise 7 has to offer.
You know, I figured out the secret formula for those films. Sexy people driving sexy cars. Eureka, I figured it out.
I think you can take the rest of the day off. This thing has been working overtime. Stick around. When we come back, we've got a review of DMC Definitive Edition.
And Power and Go.
Okay. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Dragon Mania Legends, which you can play for free right now.
Pocket time, everybody. I know you're thinking, oh, Marissa's got a pocket for us. It's probably another freemium game. You are wrong, my friend, because this game is $2. It's called Shades. What's really interesting about this game, it's just a bunch of different shades of colors. So when we first jump into it, you see green, and you are basically just dropping down tiles and matching up different tile colors, and it's just like Tetris. So what you want to do is fill the bottom with the same color, and then that will wipe the screen. And only for that line, though. What I love about it is that you're matching all the colors, so the lighter colors that come together make a darker color, and each time you match each color, the shades get darker and darker. Doesn't sound like it would be that difficult, but as you move forward, the tiles come down faster, and so you have to match quickly and then move quickly, and your timing needs to be just right. I love that when you jump into each separate level, the colors change as well. It's not just green, I'm seeing purple, I'm seeing blue. It's a very tranquil type game. I love that it's just great for sitting down. I've had this thing lately where I'm watching television, but I also like to play a game on my phone. So this is one of those games that I would play on my phone while I'm watching TV or watching something else. I always want things around me now. This is definitely one of those games that aids with that. And even the doctor's office, you can use it there as well. It's called Shades. Pick it up for $2. It's getting an 8 out of 10.
You know, I have to admit something to you. I thought that game originally had something to do with 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, you think everything has something to do with 50 Shades of Grey,
That
weirdo?
is not true at all. That's your favorite movie.
No, it isn't. I haven't even seen it. Anyway, it's time now for Scott to find some weird connection between Devil May Cry Definitive Edition and 50 Shades of Grey.
Apparently the terms definitive and remastered, we're going to get very familiar with those in this console generation. We're talking about DMC, the Definitive Edition.
Time for a little rebellion.
We've loved this game before. We've reviewed it on the show before.
We have showered it with love, and we are probably going to shower it with. I'm going to shower it with love once again.
Holy crap! Does this game play wonderfully on this machine?
You know, I never have fun doing anything except working with you. A little less with Marissa, but I'm playing this game and I loaded it up, and I'm doing things that I never do in my normal life. I never pump my fist.
Yes.
But I'm playing this game and I'm like, yeah!
Got all of those guys.
Devil May Cry! And you're just destroying people, and you got your heavy axe, and you've got your sword, and you're so elegant and dainty, but you're also just dealing death everywhere.
And
everyone must
cocky.
be laid low.
And a little arrogant, which is some of the things that put people off on the little...
telling me I am?
Well, yes, but also the younger Dante, I think, was a little too brash for
I
a lot of
hated
people.
him. I remember seeing this at E3, and I remember thinking, this is ruin. Where's the white hair?
Yeah.
Not in a million years.
I like Dante now, and he still says some very stupid things at times, and he does some stupid things at times, and I like Virgil a lot.
Yeah, me too, and I like the dynamic, and I like that we get to see that history. I also like that the Virgil DLC is included with this Definitive Edition, obviously. So you get quite a bit of bang for the buck for this game.
Go back to these levels, and this is a game that I've finished at least 3 times in the previous version, and I'm going to finish it again in the PS4 and Xbox One version, and I go back, and these levels are like lemons that I'm squeezing. I'm squeezing all the value, all the juice out of these levels, and I just want to squeeze them, and I never feel that way when I play games. I just rush through them, and I'm done, and I move on. But this game, there's a weird, addictive hook that keeps luring me back in.
The combat is effortless and flawless, but you're also getting all kinds of information on screen telling you how great you are.
Every step of the way, that's exactly right. How great you are. You did this right. You did that right. You're awesome. You're still awesome. And I guess I kind of need that at this point in my life. You know, I think you're right, though. The design is impeccable. This game is not perfect. There's still lots of down moments here. There are parts where the game kind of falls asleep. There are levels that feel like they needed more work or more time in the cooker.
But they look way better now, though. I mean, honestly, I feel like this was a game that was asking a little too much of previous gen, you know, especially because there were so many rich red sort of bloody hues throughout this thing. And a lot of the texture detail, a lot of the sort of background detail kind of got muddied and lost. This, in terms of environments, in terms of animation and fluidity, and
you'd be hard-pressed to find a third-person action game that looks and plays better than this one. I'm glad this series is back. I'm glad Ninja Theory is getting some extra credit now. They deserve it. And if you haven't played it, you're right. If you haven't played it, you got to get out there. You got to buy this game. Even if you already own it, maybe buy another copy, because I'm loving it.
If you love it as much as Scott, go ahead and buy another one. What are you giving it?
I'm going to give it a 10.
I'm giving it a 9.5.
10.5.
You can't do that.
Okay.
Wow, I haven't seen you that excited since Showgirls came out on Blu-ray.
I love that game so much. It's so fun.
Okay, well, after the break, you and Vic get to review Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, so I wonder if you're going to find a connection between that and 50 Shades of Grey.
All right, that's about enough of that.
Okay.
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Dragon Mania Legends, which you can play for free right now.
There was a game that was a hit in the App Store called Balance of the Shaolin, and now there's an endless version of that game. It's called Endless Balance. Really, all you're trying to do here is balance. You're balancing in a tree position. That's what they call it in yoga. And you're bouncing on top of a tree. Now you need to watch out for bees that come your way, some monkeys that climb up trees. There's a lot of distractions here, but what you want to do is balance by hitting one side of the screen and the other, and then hitting both sides at the same time to jump. I had a major challenge in this game. I could not pass. I think it was 30-some seconds, but I'm gonna keep at it because the game wants me to come back for more. The only problem is when playing this game, because it's free, is that there are ads that pop up after you use up a certain amount of turns, and then you have to wait to get a heart to go in it again, or you can pay 99 cents to unlock and not have any ads at all, which is what I'm actually going to do. I'm gonna go back to this game and pay the 99 cents because I love these endless games where you're doing something interesting, and I think balancing on top of a tree is pretty fun. Saying it out loud, I guess, is not as cool as I think it is, but this game has some charm to it. I'm giving it a 7.5.
Thanks, Marissa. Now the gods have seen fit to deliver another Final Fantasy game to us humble Earth dwellers. It's time for Vic and I to review Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. It has been a while since we've reviewed a Final Fantasy game on the show. Guess what? It is time for Final Fantasy Type 0
HD.
Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. Now, if this game looks familiar to you, it was originally released in 2011, and I believe it was on the PlayStation Portable, which predated the Vita.
That's right. You would have had to have imported the game, though, because it was never released in North America. But what Square did is they decided to make it a port for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, so here we are.
You know, I got to tell you that I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan. I've been really down on the last couple of Final Fantasies, especially Final Fantasy 13, which I still occupies a very burned sore spot in the middle of my chest. Final Fantasy 12, my favorite through the history of Final Fantasies. Let's talk about Type 0 HD. You load this thing up, and basically you're playing anywhere from 12 to 14 different characters over the course of the game. They're all school kids, it looks like. I guess all the people in Final Fantasy world look like school kids. they all have hair. It looks kind of like your hair.
Or your hair.
Well, mostly we're talking about your hair.
Okay.
And they got monsters to fight. They got some leveling up to do.
I actually dug this whole Hogwarts combat school type thing that they have going on in this game. It's an excruciating beginning portion of the Enterprise, though. You really feel like you're just loaded with all kinds of terms and, you know, information about all of this long war that has been going on. You're thrust into this stuff. You don't know what the hell they're talking about.
You don't.
Everybody's talking about different weapons and the power of crystals.
And your first weapon is you throw cards at people.
You have cards, you have magic spells and things like that, and you can level up every one of the different weapons, you can level up every one of the different characters, you can pick your party as the circumstance demands. But then they've also engineered a pretty interesting overworld map dynamic where you can get into these tactical battles, and that's when the game started to turn for me. It's a little tedious. You get into these early stage battles which are a little
third-person action, Devil May Cry light kind of experiences.
And they don't work as well as they should.
Listen, I admire the breadth and the depth, and once again, another Final Fantasy world that is huge and just keeps growing and growing and expanding. There's so many different ways you can do things, but I also feel like I don't ever really connect inherently with the narrative of what's going on here. I don't really care about any of these characters. I hope I'm winning. I hope I'm doing all the right things. How much do I want to commit to this world? I just went through something similar, although much deeper, with more soul in Bloodborne. And it just feels like these are two huge games that came out in relatively the same time frame. And I feel like it's a little too much. I only have room for one huge game at a time, and I kind of feel like I'm holding out for Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this game, is that it actually comes with a demo for Final Fantasy 15, and I know that that's going to be a big part of the reason why a lot of people are picking up Type 0 HD, but I think you will also, if you give this game time, I think you're going to find a lot to like here. I did. I was actually pleasantly surprised. It's still a fun game. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 6.5, and I cannot wait for 15. Come on out, baby.
No chocobos were harmed in the making of that review. Okay, lawyers, are you happy now? Coming up next is the Twitter question of the day.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It is time now for my favorite part of every episode of EP. It is the Twitter question of the day, and today's question comes from Brent Renault. He is at RealY2Cloud. Y1 must have been taken. How long does it take to do an episode of EP Daily? Well, it takes a very long time.
Months. Hundreds of man hours.
Hundreds of man hours.
Yeah.
First, we have to bring the corn in from the field.
Yeah, and then we turn the sausage machine on.
Zzz, and you want to hold it on for like 45 minutes, zzz, and then the EP Daily comes out.
No, it takes a lot of collaborative efforts, all working in synchronicity. Everybody's got their own sort of things that they're focusing on. We're reviewing games, so sometimes we're at home, we're playing and recording footage.
It's kind of a 24-hour job making the show, but you're never not really doing this job, and it's also what we love. So we're kind of doing it, and we're kind of working, but not really working.
Well, we're working right now, as a matter of fact, and you can get caught up on all of our work at epn.tv.
And listen, we've got another new story for EP Daily coming up in tomorrow's show, taking a closer look at the bloody action in Mortal Kombat X. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
We've actually jumped 25 years in the future from our previous game, which gives us a chance to add new characters to the game, as well as catch up with some of the old fan favorites and see what they've been up to. But in terms of just some highlights, you'll see we've got a new Emperor of Outworld. We've got Kotal Khan, and he's actually trying to quell a rebellion from Molina, and our Earth Special Forces are sent in to investigate and figure out what's going on. So it's a pretty cool storyline. It's a huge component of the game. Hopefully many people will give it a chance to check it out when the game comes out.
Don't know about you guys, but I'm living the dream.